It's time to turn down the noise and tune in to News You Can Use, the show that gives you a quick insight into the latest twists and turns in healthcare news, where every diagnosis comes with an order of side-splitting humor. Your hosts are Dr. Nick, a longtime host, innovator, and healthcare wizard who can prescribe a digital dose of innovation to cure even the most ailing operational inefficiencies. And Dr. Craig Joseph, the healthcare guru who can diagnose both patient and software glitches with equal precision, making sure hospitals run smoother than a well-oiled robot doc. So buckle up, because we're diving into the ER of excitement, the ICU of irrationality, and the waiting room of wacky wisdom. Now here's Dr. Nick and Dr. Craig.
Welcome to the month of March. I'm Dr. Nick.
And I'm Dr. Craig.
This week, we'll be dissecting the latest healthcare news, unraveling the twists and turns, and making sense of the debacles we see every day.
Just remember, life's a lot like a breaking news story. Unpredictable, often absurd, and occasionally leaves you wondering if it's all just a cosmic prank.
This week, we take a look at AI and commoditization, and the Pitt, if you know what that is.
And we dive into social media impacts for healthcare and some Claude skills.
But first off this week, we're going to review hymns. And I know it was a little bit of time ago, but this is our first opportunity. We have a reporter on site ready to give us the full download. Craig?
I am very excited to hear from that reporter. I'm looking around. Who do we have?
Oh my
Dr.
gosh.
Nick?
It's
you.
Is
it me?
Yeah.
It's me. Oh, we should have
I
prepared.
know, it's elevating your status to a reporter. There we go.
We should have.
Do you feel
prepared.
good about that?
That's a whole. Let's not go there.
We can get you some White House credentials if you like.
I was thinking more DOD, but
Okay.
That's fine. That's
right.
fine. Get to the Pentagon with Laura Loomer. But I digress. Hymns. So health information. I forgot what it's called. What does it stand for? Management and
so bad.
Something systems.
We're going to ask you to tell us
Hymns.
how to spell out HIPAA and get it right. But I
that-
got that wrong at some competition somewhere in some healthcare thing, and I was given a very hard time for that.
I think there's 2 A's in HIPAA.
I can never remember. Patient portability. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway,
Yeah,
HIMSS,
it's
Health Information
privacy.
Management Systems Society. I do
There
know
you
that
go.
one. Yeah.
There you go. That's awesome. Yes, annual meeting for healthcare and technology. People who are interested in buying it and people who are selling it. And it was a good meeting. Like
Was there anybody there buying? Wasn't it just all sellers, or
it was just all vendors talking to other vendors.
We have seen a fair amount of that. Let's be
that's
honest.
not.
I think the one in the COVID pandemic was definitely like that.
I remember that. Well, I kind of have a foot in both sides, right? So I guess I'm a vendor. I'm definitely a vendor.
Yeah.
But also a physician. So it's kind of weird. There were actual providers there. We'll call them buyers, but people interested in learning about what's the latest and greatest. And I'm going to tell you what it is, and you might want to sit down.
Okay.
Are you sitting?
I'm sitting.
AI.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Strike
AI.
me down with a feather.
Yeah. It's hard to
AI of all variations, themes, ideas, uses, and unuses.
Everyone's doing AI, and even if they weren't doing it before, they're doing it now. And so you could see the booth being kind of redone to make sure that.
Did you see any booths with a sticker that had clearly been added afterwards with AI?
Yeah. Now featuring AI.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We've seen this cycle a few more times, or in the past, with other terms and
Yeah.
Meaningful use is the one I remember. Oh yeah, meaningful use certified.
Yeah, there's some catchwords that have kind of been bandied about, but I think AI is the real deal. It's just everyone has to now claim that they have it, and if they don't claim that, then they're behind. Whether or not it's really anything remains to be seen. Meaning with their product,
right?
AI is most certainly changing healthcare. The question for me is these base models that are coming out from OpenAI and from Google and from I want to say Claude, but who's the Claude manufacturer?
I lost track of all of that
I'm
because
blanking
somebody
out
bought
right
somebody
now.
else. Well, Facebook bought Claude. I think.
Anthropic. No, Facebook.
No, didn't. No, I thought Facebook. Well, and then there's Grok as well. If you.
Well, it's a different thing altogether. So there's these models that are really good, and they're getting better almost by the day, certainly by the month. And so it continues to concern me for the people that work for some of these companies that they're going to have a hard time making a case that they're so much better than the stuff that I can just get with some series with some prompting and a little bit of work. That the difference between that out of the box and the stuff that they're doing, it has to be so great to justify the cost. And so far, I'm not sure that it is.
So, well, tell me what you use. I mean, are you using? Well, not so much you, but your clients, the folks that you talk to, are they still paying for this?
They
extra?
are.
They are.
They are. So the big thing for right now, which is ambient listening, right? So what that means is that the doctor generally turns on their phone, and the conversation that's happening in the office is in the exam room is being recorded, hopefully with permission of the patient that's sitting there.
Well, it depends on the state you're in whether that's required or not.
Well,
maybe it's different in healthcare. I'm not sure, but
I don't know if it's required. Whether or not it's required, it's a good idea to know that what you're saying is being recorded, right? And it's going up, and then it's generating for the physician a progress note, so a summary of what was said, and in a meaningful way, putting it in a good order. It also can queue up orders, and so if I were to say, oh, we're going to give little Johnny his 4-year vaccines, which is a DTaP and an MMR and an IPV, it can queue up those orders for me, so I don't have to actually go and find them. It doesn't make them. It doesn't make it happen. I still have to take a step and review it, but it can be very helpful. And I don't think anyone's ready yet to kind of use some make their own type of AI for that yet. But the improvements are getting there. And so we know that hospitals and healthcare systems are so conservative that they would rather at this point, and I don't think they have much of a choice, pay a third-party vendor to create all of that. But I can imagine in the next year or two, someone saying, we could pay.
Why are we paying all this money when we could actually have it ourselves? And in fact, I saw something just recently, I forget which health system it was. They were using a bunch of the tool set that has been now shipped with the Epic universe to essentially test out, I think it was pharmacology and some of the challenges of building was it I think it was complex prescriptions for probably cancer, chemotherapy. I don't recall, but that's exactly what they were doing, was using the existing tool set that is included. Doesn't mean say you're not paying for it. I bristle when people say it's free, because there ain't nothing free, at least nothing I've discovered as yet. So I agree with you. I think who can't? And to be clear, I mean, I've certainly done some of this stuff. I've extended my skill set, and I will call myself a programmer again, based on my
congratulations.
I've revitalized my skills, but let's be clear, I'm using the technology that just extended me in a way that I went, oh my God, that's really clever.
It's becoming available to the normal person. And to you as well, Dr.
Oh, thank you very much. You're too generous. I mean, let's talk a little bit about Claude and some of those. I mean, those are essentially there's a whole tool set that you can. I don't want to say it's a market. I haven't stepped into this, but I have a sense that you have stepped into it. I've essentially done my own thing, but I don't have any of the paid subscriptions, and I don't think I can create this Claude instance automate things, but you have, or you are, or you're doing.
Well, I'm a subscriber, so I actually moved from OpenAI ChatGPT to Anthropic's Claude.
Recommendation, folks. Here, that's it.
That's I speak only from personal experience. That
interesting.
I thought I was getting a better experience with Claude than I was with ChatGPT.
Was the price different, or was it the same?
No.
Same.
Nope. Yeah, it's the exact same for the base level. So I'm at the lowest level you can pay for, which is $20 a month.
No, you're not.
Well, that you can pay for.
To be clear.
No, I said the lowest level you can pay for, Dr. Nick.
Well, you can pay for the free.
Yeah, you pay me.
Irrelevant.
Pay me for that. Pay me for that. Yeah, so I made the move when they introduced what they call Claude Co-work, and again, this is all kind of for personal use. I don't use it for anything work related.
Well, give us an example for personal use, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, I write blog posts, and I do that every 2 or 3 weeks. I put one out, and so I have now created a skill. So skills are kind of like, I think, probably the future of programs, where you train the AI model to work on something very specific for you. So in this case, I've uploaded, I co-wrote a book several years ago. Yep. So I've uploaded the PDF of that. Yep. And I've uploaded all of my blog posts for like the last 4 or 5 years. And I said, hey, Claude, read through this and, do a lot of fun things. So one fun thing might be, if I come up with an idea for a blog post, I'm going to send it, before I really do any work on it, I'm going to send it into Claude and say, hey, how does this look repetitive?
Right.
To something I've already done.
Yeah, clever.
Or, oh no, this is new, but is there something that I've written in the past that I should reference?
Yeah, right. Because you can't remember it all.
Because I don't remember it. Or it can also do things like it can kind of identify, not maybe transitions or references that I wouldn't have put together, and say, well, this is kind of like when you wrote blah. Like, oh, wow, I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. It is like that. And so helping me to make my writing better, I haven't used it for this, but I'm going to be, hey, Claude, what's going on in the news? Or, hey, I'm following ideas. Yeah, find some ideas. So,
it's like having a colleague that you can talk to. And I mean, I've heard a lot of people using it for those kind of tools.
Absolutely.
Approaches,
but it's,
right?
It's one of those things where I wouldn't call it a colleague. What I would call it is I think it's best to think of it as like an intern or an assistant.
Yeah, okay.
Who's, do I trust you 100% with my life? No.
Right.
No. So I'm sophisticated enough with the questions that I'm asking it that I can judge its answers. And I can be like, oh no, you're way off on that. I will totally ignore that piece of advice. Versus if I asked it, like, I know nothing about how my car works. Like, I know there's an engine and it has some kind of lubrication in it, and it's got oil, and I've got to put gas. But that's about all I know. So if I asked Claude a question and it said, well, you should, do this, I have no way of judging whether that's a good idea or not, because I have no knowledge in that area. So I wouldn't trust it for that.
I mean, just to be clear, and I was a car guy, and I did all this kind of stuff in the days when you actually could, and I carried a toolkit in my, what do you guys call it? I call it the boot. Trunk.
We call it a trunk.
Trunk, there we go. It was not unusual in a cold, wet morning in the United Kingdom to find me underneath messing around with starter motors and whatever on my way to work. I would factor this in or not, but I actually think Claude skills might be useful in today's day and age of car maintenance, because it's plug into the OBD and say, oh, what's the error code? Okay, this is the fix, right?
I mean, I have actually asked Claude, like, hey, I got this light, this light alert that popped up. What might it mean?
Oh my God! If people could see me, they'd see me shaking my head. I mean, you should be ashamed of yourself. Oh, well, there's a light. I don't know what that one means. I'm like,
yeah. Well, I'm gonna ask Claude before I pay some mechanic $100 for the same answer.
Yes, do not drive, do not pass go. Cease driving immediately.
If Claude told me that, I would
belting
be
along at
worried.
70 miles an hour. Oh, that's an interesting. Has that light always been there?
I'm not asking Claude questions at 70 miles per hour, Dr. Nick.
No, I know, but maybe you should be, because some of these lights are serious. Yeah, look, I say all of this because these kind of things have happened to me. I've had a light come on, and it turns out it was a pretty serious light, because as I carried on, the engine caught fire.
No, and we don't recommend that.
No, absolutely not. Well, my version of this is, albeit in free, but it's a very specific use case. It's all about extracting data from a standard format, but it's not anything that exists. And I want to get out flight details from a regular piece of content to say, here are all the flights, and it needs to be in this format to be imported into OpenFlight so that I can track all of the flights. And I went through multiple cycles and I learned all of this programming from JSON, which is the structure, and Python to create all of these it was extraordinary. And I ultimately have this really cool application that runs in a web page. I paste in the content, it produces the flights, and allows me to download the CSV that I can upload into OpenFlights. And I could probably automate. It's just, wow. And this is an old school COBOL programmer with JCL. So that was a big step for me. I'm just saying. So
yeah. Well, the key with a skill, I'll just end with this, because I've taken some, I'm going to say air quotes, classes, meaning you've been on
YouTube.
I've watched some. Well, I actually paid for like a webinar. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of a big deal. So I paid.
Certainly waste money. I mean, spend money.
Exactly. The key is especially with Claude, is that it learns a skill, but you have to kind of keep updating that skill. So when you ask it for something and say, hey, use this skill
right. Yep.
help tell me if this is a good piece of content that I'm thinking about writing. And if it makes a big mistake, like, oh, you would never want to repeat this, like, oh, actually, no, Claude, that's not what I'm saying. I'm
interested in
right, and then it improves that skill. Okay. Yeah. Right. And so that's the key, is you have to kind of constantly give it feedback, like, oh, I want more like this, less like that. And it incorporates this into what look like English words. I mean, they're just words that you can read and you can edit yourself if you want. But I just have Claude edit it for me and just say, like, no, I didn't mean this. What I meant was that. Update your skills so that you don't make this mistake again. And that way the skill gets better, so that the next time I ask it, we're not running through the exact same problem.
Right.
And that skill only works for me.
For you. Yeah.
No one else sees it.
Yeah. Very neat. All right. Moving on. I think exciting times, and if I have one piece of guidance, it's explore or test out. You should really. There's so much that you can potentially do, even with the free version, which I'm there. So. We saw an interesting piece in Health Affairs, I think, talking about the problematic nature of social media. What was that about? What did you see?
Well, it was an editorial that I kind of found in Health Affairs, and it basically kind of pointed out that hundreds of millions of people around the world. I think there was an estimate of 210 million, which seems like a lot of people globally, not just in the US, but globally, meet the criteria for this, something called problematic internet use. Right. And so I don't have the criteria in front of me, but one can imagine it's
it's going to make it into the DSM in my estimation.
I think you're right. That's where it's heading. It's going to be a kind of an official diagnosis that insurance will pay for. But it's kind of like the real deal. It's not just an opinion now. Like there's research and evidence to support the fact that, hey, this really affects your activities of daily living. It can affect your job. It can affect your ability to do well in school. And especially if you're spending, too much time, not only on social media, but with technology in general. it can make certain things worse, like anxiety and other types of behavioral health issues, depression and loneliness. All of those things can be made worse.
I have one to add that was recently published. Definitively over 50% increase or more, higher, a 50% increase in incidence of hemorrhoids.
Yes, I think I did read that.
Did you read that one?
Yes, people are spending time on the toilet and not getting off the toilet because they're engaged with their phones, which is, I mean, I don't even want to go down that path. I don't want to go down that path.
Oh, please.
Let me try and get us back to health affairs.
Come on. This is just the replacement for the magazine rack that used to be in everybody's bathroom.
That is accurate. That is accurate.
And it was clearly always the guys, because I never saw any magazines that you go, I can't think of, Fashion Daily or whatever it happened to be that women might read. It was always Mechanics Auto Daily. And
I always put health affairs, Dr. Nick. I put health affairs in my bathrooms.
So, on your phone is what you mean.
If you're going to go to the bathroom, you're going to get educated. God damn it.
Right.
That's my attitude. Well, this article was basically saying, hey, this is a public health problem, and we should treat it as such.
It is. Drag it into the sewer. Sorry, I can't resist it.
Well,
it really tickled my funny bone, as you can tell. But not to diminish, you're making an exceedingly important point, unusually so, I'll say.
Trying.
It is. It's awful. I mean, it impacts mental health. It drags. I mean, and I would say, notice that Australia has banned it for under 16s, I think, and there was a war over it. But I've seen subsequent articles talking to some of the kids who've said, this is fantastic.
Yep.
Which, wow. And, now other countries considering it. And we've seen a couple of lawsuits that have actually been successfully filed and won, albeit they'll be under appeal, saying, you guys knew this stuff. You created addictive platforms designed to suck people in and have destroyed their mental health. So I'm in. But anyway, before we run out of time, we should talk at least a little bit about the Pitt. Contextually, I enjoy it. I know you do. I know a lot of physicians who don't. I know some who can't watch it because it triggers them too much. But I think it triggers because it's so they do a really good job of realism, so much more than ER from the originals. That was my era. I know there was stuff before that. What did you see that was really striking?
Well, not giving away.
Oh, wait! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! If you don't want to know, if you haven't seen it, he's going to blow the information from the thing. So,
I am to some extent. I'm just going to say that they have a problem with their electronic health record. That's it.
That is realism right there.
Yeah. And
is this day to day? Minute to minute?
The problem was they couldn't use it, right?
Oh.
So they had to go back to paper.
I bet that was shocking, right?
Shocking.
Did they have the paper? Did the young interns and PGY 1s and 2s even know how to use paper?
They were trained very quickly.
Oh.
Which, in my experience, one of the groups that really knows how to use how to kind of go to paper when the system goes down there's two groups. One is the people that work nights, because that's always people that work nights, because whenever we have a planned downtime,
that's when it is.
It's always at night.
Right.
It's always going to be at night because that's when it's the least disruptive. It's still disruptive, but it's the least disruptive at night. So we always do it at night. So people who only work nights are pretty good at when the EHR goes down for a couple of hours. They don't panic. And the emergency department. Again, because people are often working all kinds of different shifts. And again, when it goes down at night on a planned way, that's not frequent. Once a year, twice a year, maybe. But when it happens, they don't generally freak about it in the ER. But it did happen on the Pitt, and I thought it was accurate. display of the appropriate amount of paranoia and panic. Yes.
My selection for appropriate amount of reality was the poor gentleman who had a diabetic ketoacidosis, or I don't even recall if it was probably hyper uncontrolled. And of course, it turns out he's not taking all his insulin because he can't afford it. They lost their insurance because the people that were employing him changed or stopped offering it. And, they've even gone down and got, I don't know who they brought down, probably from accounting or something, to say, hey, what can we do to help? And the conversation was a bit stunted in its interaction, but it essentially covered the details, which was, hey, they earn too much money to get, the free-ish version, but the costly version is too expensive. And that's reality. The only problem I have with this is that, let's be clear, this is Hollywood. Are people really paying attention to that piece? It wasn't terribly exciting. I mean, it was to maybe you and I, certainly to me. I mean, that's great, but I love what they're doing. And, shout out to Scrubs 2026, because they've brought themselves up into the latest and greatest, and, love a bit of comedy around that. It was very black in terms of its approach to humor. In the first season, it's maybe toned down a little, and they're sort of addressing some of that. But anyway, unfortunately, as usual, we find ourselves at the end of yet another episode of Exploring Healthcare's Mysteries before they became your emergencies. Until next time, I'm Dr. Nick.
And I'm Dr. Craig.